Welcome back, and we are here with Warren Smith, the president and co-founder of the Sacramento Republic FC. How you doing today, Warren?
I'm doing great, Mark. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Thanks for coming down. Now we're talking a little bit about freedom, and today we're going to talk a little bit about soccer, right? The Sac Republic FC is our town's soccer team. Let's talk about the Republic, though, to start off with. What's going on with the Republic these days?
Well, we're in our third season and continuing to build a club and compete, and then of course make our case to Major League Soccer and hopefully accomplish that here in the near future.
You guys, you've got I guess multiple facets to what you're doing, right? You've got a soccer team, which is fun, but it's also a business. Let's talk about the business a little bit, because when I go to a Sac Republic game, I mean, I'm usually thinking about, I'm a customer, right? I'm there as a customer, and so I look around at the fan experience a little bit when you walk in and what it feels like. Talk to us about the experience that a fan gets when he walks in to Bonnie Field.
Well, we can't. Everybody's experience is a little bit different, but what we try to do is create an environment where they can actually have, put smiles on their faces and ultimately have a good time. It's all around the game.
Right.
Which is different than most sports where you're, from our experience, these fans really just want to come and watch 45 minutes, 2 times of the sport that they love. But we hopefully what we're doing is creating an atmosphere where people can actually grow relationships and bring their friends and create a neighborhood, if you will, within their little seating section.
Right. Now you talk about the grow relationships. So when they walk in, it's families, right? So who's your customer?
Well, we have different segments, but I'd say that's a very interesting question because it's changing. Our original customer was on average 38 years old. Now it's down to 34 years old.
Oh, it's getting younger.
From a season ticket standpoint, yes. And we always knew that it would get younger. If you look at Major League Soccer, their average customer base, season ticket holders, 28 years old. So it's really a millennial sport, right? The kids, have played the sport, grew up with it, and now want to participate in it. But the interesting thing is how so many other people are adapting to it and enjoying it and having a great time with it and may not have played soccer themselves. So we have the purists, and then we have the people that are just kind of to learn the game.
Yeah.
And they're just for fun, and which is really kind of neat to see those two segments collide, if you will.
Well, I remember walking in and feeling like a courtyard area where the food trucks and food vendors are around, and you've got the beer vendors, and there's kind of a place to hang out and spend time with your family or spend time with your friends, and grow those relationships. How important is that outside? And then you walk into the stadium and it feels a little bit different. But people gather in those other areas.
That's the desire, right? We want to. If you look at the game, it's really on an hour and a half long, and the whole event is really a 2-hour event. We'd love people to come earlier and have a great time. Maybe sit down and have a little dinner, and then beers with some friends, and go in and watch the game and stick around afterwards.
It feels safe too. You're walking around, and there's if you go to an Oakland Raider football game, it might not feel as family friendly. You come into a Republic game and it's like, wow, these guys look like people I want to be hanging around with. It's cool.
It's fun, and I don't know if you you might not have made the LA game last year where we lost the playoffs.
I did not.
It was fascinating to see how much people have come to love this club and to be upset, that we didn't win, and upset that LA won. So it's really kind of interesting to see how people are really adopting to that and having a great time.
Yeah, and now I think when you may have provided me some tickets, I think you gave me some VIP tickets last year, and I got to sit in the VIP section, which felt good, right? Hanging out with other business people and so on. And now have you guys expanded that area, or what's the now when you walk into the arena, what's it like?
Well, we made a couple changes this year. If you when you come into the stadium, we only had 5.3% of our tickets that were really that businesses would tend to use. And so obviously, if we're going into the new stadium, you have to have, 20 to 25% of your seats to actually be those kind of higher end seats. So we added some seats on the west on the east side and the north side to allow that experience, and which is right on the field. But the VIP area is still about the same size, and but we did add a stage. Ovations added the stage this year because they want to have a concert. So you've got the middle area where people are 6 feet up in the air and kind of looking down on the field. It's provided a much nicer view than we had before.
Okay, but those concerts, they're not part of yours.
No, so
Okay.
our partner, Ovations Food Service and
Okay.
Cal Expo, it's all type of festivals, not just concerts. You know, they had the Bernie
Sanders?
Yeah, he had a rally out there. I didn't attend that.
You didn't go to that? You're not a Bernie Sanders guy?
I didn't say
Looks
that.
Like,
I didn't say that.
Hey, we're kind of on this show. It's not. We've intentionally tried to stay away from politics on this show. Our show is more about freedom and free enterprise and chasing your dreams. If that's in soccer, great. If that's in some other line of business, fantastic.
Amen.
So let's talk about, I've spent a lot of time talking about the fan experience and what it feels like there at Bonnie Field, and it kind of setting up. You've been generous enough to offer some tickets for us to give away on the show. Never given away tickets on the show, but we have 2 sets of 4 tickets that can be available at will call to our first couple of callers. Thank you very much for offering that up. We got a phone number, actually, 800-920-1140 or 916-339-1140. Or you can go to haneybiz.com or, our Facebook page and tell us you want them there. The first couple of groups of 4, we'll get some tickets, which is extremely generous. Now, who are you guys playing tonight?
The Seattle Sounders, too.
Are they any good?
They're on the lower half of the table, but every team is good.
Perfect.
In our
It's a
league.
W then. Huh? Is it?
No. It doesn't work that way. Knock on wood. You're scaring me.
Yes. So a big part of this is creating this fan experience, but you've also got to put a great product on the field, right? And so how do you divide up your time in terms of, hey, I'm going to put this great business together, but I've also got to put some effort into making sure we have the right team.
Right. Well, it's no different than the businesses that you run. You hire great people. You meet with them about their goals, objectives, and lay out a plan with each one, and then you monitor how they're doing, what they're doing, and ultimately how they're accomplishing their own goals. And we're very blessed to have a new coach, and Paul Buckle is doing a great job. Graham Smith has been wonderful in helping him to identify talent. We're competing, frankly, with a league that is growing immensely. If you look at some of the teams, you got Seattle Sounders, LA, so a lot of MLS teams that actually own these teams and competing in our league. We also have some teams that are getting new. Houston partnered with Rio Grande Valley, who's a brand new team this year, and they were an awesome team. We were fortunate enough to get the victory, but ultimately, you're starting to see some really, really growth in talent in this league and getting a lot more competitive.
So partnering with an MLS team just makes you more strong.
Yeah, it's really a development tool, right? So if you want your first team players to grow, they need to play games.
Right.
And so that's how these MLS teams are really using it. And they're actually getting, their talent younger. They're growing talent like an academy, which we started this year. The whole goal is to eventually find talent in our own community and then have them play on our first team, much like Cameron Owasa, who is from Sacramento and doing great, but he didn't really play in an academy. He didn't have the chance to.
What's Sacramento's younger talent look like?
It's actually pretty amazing. We have a catchment area that is we have 130,000 people that actually play the sport, and in the youth area it's like 83,000. It's between 70 and 90,000. I can't remember the exact number, but that's huge. If you look at the whole state of Oregon as an example, they have 35,000 people that actually play the sport. That's not even identifying the youth in that. So we're arguably, 3 times larger in size, just the amount of people that play the sport. And you have a bigger pool, you're going to get better players.
Right.
We've had 27 MLS players come through or from Sacramento. And, our youth team, our 18-year U team this year made the playoffs and is now going to Vancouver on the 7th.
Wow.
To compete for the next round of playoffs and hopefully, get to the championship.
That's incredible. So One of our, kind of back to the business question,
Sure.
Mito Eldon, a buddy of mine, he's started an app called My Team Sphere, and it helps teams to communicate. But as a business person, I've always found that communication was so key to the success. And you were talking about how you meet with your senior leadership
Sure.
and help develop the strategies and how and run the business. What is do you have meeting rhythms that really help you guys to succeed?
Well, absolutely. I mean, we have weekly follow-ups with everyone, and it depends on what's going on with the departments and from their strategies or implementation, and where if we meet more. So right now we're to give you an example, we're looking at some partnerships with the youth soccer leagues. So we're trying to meet more and come up with a strategy and present them with something that we can actually help them grow talent even at younger ages. So. But yes, of course, rhythm's very important, and continue the diligence about following up and on the.
Now,
things
is there
that we talk
technology involved? Mito's got this app which helps teams to communicate, but within business, do you just do you meet face to face, or are you using technology to help drive communication?
All the above, right? So, and I love Mito's app. We've introduced him to our team, and it looks like we're going to be using that technology.
Oh, really?
Yeah, to communicate with. These the academy teams, their parents, and they build a little network of communication amongst themselves. It helps us get the information out. There's daily changes, things that we're asking the kids to work on, and so obviously using technology, but nothing beats face to face.
Yeah.
Right. And ultimately, making sure that you can see the body language around what if you can guess when people are scared or.
Body
Maybe.
language, yes,
Absolutely. It's
so important to be able to have that face to face. Now, do you meet with every employee within the organization?
No.
Okay.
There's no way I could.
How many employees are there?
We have 45 full time, and 22 players currently. I will spend personal time throughout the year with each and one, but not from a weekly follow up.
Not on a weekly follow up.
Right.
Yeah. And just thinking about. The field and how the MLS might change the location of the field. Right now, you're at Bonnie Field,
Right.
And I was thinking about Bonnie Field too because I see their trucks around. They've got the naming rights to your current field. Do you know the Bonnies? Do you know it's Bonnie Plumbing, right?
That's correct.
And you see their pictures on the side of the vehicles, and
Right.
they look like the nicest people in the world. They look so sweet.
And they are.
Are they really? That was my question.
Absolutely.
I don't know them, but they look like the perfect family, right?
They are. They are just the nicest people and a great partner of ours.
And how did you arrive? How did you get them to agree to the partnership?
Well, our business is to put smiles on people's faces, bring them in, and offer businesses the opportunity to grow their brand. And so they were very interested in growing their brand, and we, one of our people, Brent Sasaki, had a great relationship with them to start with and just started the conversation. And Jimmy Krebe, who was the CEO at the time, was actually played professional soccer in England. And I'm sorry, the team that just played yesterday in the Brussels area.
Oh, okay.
And so
you got a soccer background. Yeah.
And so it was a way for them to actually accomplish their strategic goals and growth and develop a partnership that works.
And, the subject of today's show is about freedom, and really, I think, don't we all want the ability to grow as individuals, the ability to grow as a company, and just that freedom that is so uniquely American. Talk to us about what freedom looks like to Warren Smith.
Well, it's interesting when you were first starting to talk about it, and I was in the other room. I was starting to think about that, and I've come from a military background. My dad was in the Army, and so it means a lot to me, because there's a lot of people that gave everything to allow us to be able to do what we do and say what we want, and so freedom for me is really the chance to think and act. In line with what we want to accomplish in our lives, and it doesn't mean to me that you can do everything, right? Because we have laws to follow, and but it does mean that we can, create and have the freedom to speak our minds, and as you know, in many countries you can't do that, and you're often told this is what you're going to do with your life, and you may have to work in a factory and spend your whole life doing that. Well, here we have the freedom to actually experience something and make a change, and the free enterprise system allows us to really be free agents to accomplish what we want to accomplish in our lives.
Warren Smith, talking freedom, talking about the Sac Republic FC, our local soccer team. Warren, I want to thank you for coming on the show today. Great to have you here. You've done so much for our community and entrepreneurship, and you've, with the River Cats and other businesses that you've founded, and now with the Sac Republic. Thank you very much for doing that, and for coming on the show and being our friend today.
It's good to see you again.
You
Frankly, anytime I'd love to come back, and I just want to also, recognize that, we've got a lot of work ahead of us, and we. Kevin Nagel's done a great job in developing the stadium plan and putting an ownership group together. So we're really excited about what's going to be coming here in the near future.
This is Entrepreneurs Unlimited. Coming up in the show, we will have Andy Klein, president and co-founder of Monk's Cellars, a very cool brewery and restaurant in downtown Roseville. Again, this is Entrepreneurs Unlimited on Facebook Live, broadcasting from Sports 1140, KHTK, streaming live, podcast, and YouTube at HaneyBiz.com.